guys, thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate every one of you coming out tonight. And we did this in Melbourne. We had a great night. Hope you guys are going to get a lot out of it. Please ask as many questions as possible when you can. And the first section, we'll be talking about, I think maybe Australia's not got hit as quite as hard as some of the other places in the world with recruitment, but talent teams have got stronger, tech's got better, fees have got squeezed, headcount has reduced in a lot of cases. So we're all seeing a bit of optimism in the market again now. So as we go to build back, we want to learn how to do it a bit better this time. So we've got a mixture of tech and finance and John Bourke. I'm not sure why he's here.
He begged me to speak.
Try and get as much out of the talkers as possible. So I'm just going to let them introduce themselves to get us kicked off. But before I do that, once we go through this first section, we'll have a quick break, refill the glasses, have a good time. And then we'll get the star of the show, Dara Everard. No, sorry, it's Paul Masters, but Dara Everard's going to help him out. And in that there, we'll be able to discuss what things look like from a big picture. So Paul has run the accounts of many, many businesses. So everybody says they're doing well. Everybody says they're the greatest business in the world. Paul actually knows who's doing well and what the average figures are. And Dara's a great operator who can maybe help us delve into what we can actually do to achieve productivity. Okay. So I will start with this lovely lady to my left.
Hello.
Hello. Can you give us a bit of a rundown into yourself and your business, please?
Of course. Hello. Nice to meet you. I am Victoria from APositive. For those who don't know, we are a funding company. We help recruitment agencies and labour hire start, scale, and succeed.
Perfect. Thank you, Victoria. So I'm Manu. I'm one of the founders of Spott. Spott is an AI native ATS and CRM, which was started a year and a half ago. And we already got to close to 1,000 users. Happy to be here.
Oh, hi, I'm John. I run Starting Recruitment, and we run RecView, which is an AI note taker for Job Hatter, Bullhorn, Fincherry, Boxer.
You're not a rec direct, though, right?
Australia's number one rec to rec. Yeah. I've let Dolder on my patch tonight.
He's a terrible rec direct. He is the most backouts of any rec direct.
Is there any associate directors in this room that we've placed over the years? Dolder, can you say the same? Yeah. Is it the two good looking lads? You can ask the same question now, Dolder.
Oh no, really?
It's going to be a good night.
Oh no. Did you set that up?
Thanks, Joes.
Did you set that up?
They're always my case study. Yeah.
The 2 stars. Oh, I'm gutted. Okay,
Should have thought of that one earlier, mate.
Okay. So
I talked to those 2 guys.
All right. So, John, let's chat about the market.
Mm-hmm.
You're selling everything to recruitment firms these days, right?
Yep. Likewise.
Yeah, maybe. What's it doing? What are your customers saying? What are you seeing from what they're doing with their people to their technology? Give us your insight.
Like I've been saying to a few people earlier tonight and last week, Australian market is always super positive in January, right? There's just like a sense of optimism. That happened last year, and then obviously last year wasn't a great market for everyone. It's really carried on this year towards the end of Feb, right? So people are having more jobs on, there's placements. For the first time in about 18 months, we're getting rookie desk requests, right? Which is a really big indicator that the market is expected to do a lot better. And we're even seeing that across like our demos for our platform, where we're getting inbound leads, which is last year. That just didn't happen. Last year, people were trying to consolidate, save a lot of money. But we've noticed that, there's more roles on. People have a more optimistic view of what is going to happen this year.
Wonderful. Yeah. We got through that. That was
we
tough.
Got through it. Swap the mic. Yeah.
We're swapping again.
To be quite loud. So.
Okay, so there's a bit of optimism. Show of hands. Who's hiring rookies versus who's hiring experienced hires? rookies, experienced hires.
James, go get the numbers quickly.
Okay. So 50-50, that's pretty good.
Which, like, if you asked that same question mid last year, it would have been 100% experienced rookies, experienced recruiters versus rookies.
Yeah. At least you didn't build a training platform for rookie recruiters and launch it in the same year.
Shout out,
Shout out,
Orca.
Orca.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Everything, Dolda.
Yeah. Here we are. Okay, so optimism's is in the air. People are talking a lot about AI. Oh, is it all noise? Well, what's happening?
Mate, funnily enough, we've moved away from branding RecView as an AI platform. So I think where a lot of the noise comes from is it's quite easy to build platforms now, especially over the last, like since December and Claude releasing a lot of their agentic coding tools, is you can build a platform quite quickly. Does it integrate? Is it secure? There are different questions. I think people like the idea of AI, but they like the idea of trusting the workflow that they're doing. So, for example, everything that we do at RecView is updating data. It doesn't allow that data to influence any decision or send any random emails or random text. So I think a lot of the fear in AI is that they've tested out AI products. It's not worked very well, or it hasn't lived up to the expectations because the tech just wasn't there. I think that'll probably shift over the next 6 to 12 months as tech gets better, these platforms get better. But one thing that we always say to clients, it's like you need to identify the problem that you're trying to solve first. Like I've bought every single shiny SaaS tool that's ever existed.
How bad is the latest LinkedIn?
Real bad, right? Like it's like you just get it. Like I've getting just constant demo requests. I'm like, oh, I'll try that. Yep, it'll work. Never sign up for something that's a 12-month contract before you've even demoed the product or before you're allowed to trial it. So identify the pain point or the workflow that you're trying to solve and then go to market to look for the product that's going to solve it is one of the things that we tell our clients.
Manu. So Manu has launched an ATS and they've done an incredible funding round. They've got loads of customers on board. And we've got 1,000 recruitment founders within RecView, and we're seeing a massive buzz towards them. And in fairness, one of their competitors as well, Atlas, there seems to be this move towards a new type of ATS. I'll be lying to you if I pretend that I'm in the detail and I understand the difference between this AI or that AI, but that's why we interview these experts. So Manu, tell us the difference between what do the legacy ATSs do compared to what the new ones do, and what does it mean for us?
Yeah, I think the goal of what an ATS does for you has just fundamentally shifted or is shifting because the adoption is still relatively low. I think most of the people in the room will not be on Spott or Atlas. I think most are on JobAdder or Bullhorn. If you look at legacy ATSs, the focus was to be a database, to dump your database, and the focus was to have control over that data, both for I think the more senior people in the business to look what junior recruiters are doing, like analytics and stuff. That was very important, and also because your database is then the value of your agency. So eventually, that was kind of the core goal of doing that. So that's why we called the system of records. That's what an ATS was actually until then. Now basically when it's switching, what it's switching to is from like a system of records, a database, to a system of action. So something that can actually work alongside you. That's where we're actually getting to. So the core goal is not anymore to just dump data in there. It needs to go automatically via LinkedIn integration, email integration, note taker. The data kind of needs to go automatically into the ATS, so you don't have to spend a lot of time doing that. And then if you have all the data in there, AI is really good if you have a lot of context. If the system then has all the context and AI can basically look at all the information that went in there, which is of course much more that you can possibly humanly remember, because you're not going to remember all your mails and calls. Then you can actually do something with it, and that doing something with it, that's then what a system of action is. So it's going to work alongside you. It's never going to place you. It's still a human process, but it's going to suggest certain things. For example, if you had a conversation, it's going to suggest maybe this tag or the candidate mentioned the new salary. Maybe could you then update the salary in the system so that you always have the latest information without having to do kind of all the effort. And then also eventually, if you're going to present them to a candidate, if you're going to present the candidate to a client, you can also do that. It also helps you with drafting the emails and just helping you in general. So I think the move is just from a system of like record database to a system of action in AI native ATS.
Anybody have any questions on that? It's quite a technical thing, so probably looking for an expert to ask a question. No? Yes? Awesome.
Just on the basis of, so looking at them previously as historical databases, I know that a big concern of a lot of agency owners at the moment is if you're transitioning to a newer system that focuses on those actions, how do you import that data cleanly to make sure that you can still utilize it rather than just focusing on that new data that's incoming with those integrations? So what's the solution to then import the old data to make sure that it maps well to the new system?
Yeah, that's a very good question because it's super important to get that data because data is everything. So I think also the newer ATSs and spend a lot of money at Spott. 20% of our staff does data migrations. Mm-hmm. It's a lot. Like that's super important. But the nice thing is with the newer ATSs and CRMs, they're more flexible. So they're more set because when I was actually in the first selling to Bullhorn, a lot of our customers also had Excel on the side. They did their BD on Excel, and I was like, "Yeah, how did this actually happen?" And they're like, "Yeah, we cannot create those cells in Bullhorn, and it's kind of too slow, so we don't bother." And that's a lot of information that's lost. And BD, as you know, as an agency, you're not an in-house recruiter. It's quite important, and that's in the system. That's not even your ATS. So it's like, okay, if we build a better ATS and CRM, it needs to be on the system. So we made it much more flexible, so we can put all the information that's used to be in Excel into the system, and that also helps with data migrations because you can create any column, any type, whatever it is in Spott, and then you can just remap it, and then we set it over, and there's 0%. There's just zero data loss, and that is very important. So I think the only data loss that there could be is just around. Yeah, because about like historical numbers, when did you do this action and when you did this action. So that's the only thing that's not perfect. But for the rest, it's like the data migrations these days are quite clean, and we focus a lot of it. And I think other AI native ATSs and CRMs are also focus a lot on the data migration part.
Victoria, to the numbers.
The important bit.
The important bit. So, everybody's growing again. How can we afford it? Do we have to wait until we get paid? What does that work? What does that look like? And can I explain that whole world? Because I kind of thought I had an idea of what a funding service like yours did, but then you explained it to me and I realized I don't know anything.
That's quite common. So for those of you who don't know, a lot of you will, but obviously funding is a core part of our business. We have 3 parts. I'll just talk to you briefly about them, but tell you really how you can utilize them to growth. Certainly those of you who are in that startup phase and you're looking at, okay, I'm literally paying my contractors weekly. I'm getting paid 45 days end of month. Like, what do I do? How do I manage that? How do I grow when I've got that kind of looming over my head? So funding is a great way to do that. It's releasing the cash from your own invoices. So you're not taking loans. You don't have external to pay. You're literally leveraging your own book. So that's one part. Payroll is another part that we do. Different conversation, not one for growth at this point in time, but the one I did want to talk to you about because it was something that came up quite a bit in Melbourne was APay, which is leveraging your perm invoices. So actually offering your clients an option to pay in installments or via credit card, meaning that you get paid upfront on credit card within 48 hours. So you're not actually waiting, you're driving cash into the business, which then enables you to grow in a different way. So it's just a different way of thinking about how you can leverage your own book, essentially, just really kind of looking in the details. And what that allows you to do then is focus your time because you're not chasing invoices because they're already being paid. Perm in particular, from an APay point of view, we know that that's a sticking point for clients. It was why the product was born. It came out of a need from the industry, so that actually we take that responsibility from you. It's set and forget and off you go.
So some people don't pay me sometimes. They're not in this room. But it has happened. It happens in Rec, right? Yeah. Yeah.
He's using APay, that's why.
Yeah, there you go.
We do actually.
So I have to call.
They would like to pay their
I have to call a guy called back. I have to call a guy called Backdoor Barry whenever it happens, and then we've all had to call him at some stage, right? And then he goes and breaks down some doors and threatens them, and then they eventually pay me, and nobody really wins except for Backdoor Barry. Do you guys take care of that stuff? Because I mean, that I'd pay for that.
Yeah, we take care of all of that. So APay in the installments is a non-recourse facility. So we buy the invoice from you essentially, and then they pay by direct debit, which is taken automatically. And that's our responsibility to collect the debt. Just to kind of put things into perspective though, people always pay us. I think we've had 2 in the entirety of our existence, which was 2019. We set up, we've just done our 1,000th invoice, and we've only ever had 2 that have kind of pushed the boundary, because there's a big difference between not paying a financial institution and not paying a recruiter. So it gives you that security. And one of the things that kind of from a consultant level, I know there's not that many in the room, but where that's important is it means that the commissions are guaranteed, because you're always going to get paid.
Do you guys do the terms as well? Because it's always the terms that they find a way. Like,
So yeah, because they sign our terms. So your
Okay.
terms will always stay in play, your replacement guarantee, but they sign an agreement with us saying, I'm going to pay you X amount in 6 installments. And that's what is legally binding. So that's what protects you. We pay you in full up front, and that's your job done.
Manu, okay, so you're developing ATS. Yes, should
On that point, who pays for? There's obviously a service fee involved.
Yeah.
Who pays for the service fee? Is it the recruitment agency or the end user, the client?
No, it's the end user. So it's free for you to use. It integrates into your invoice. It's just a link at the bottom of the invoice that they click. They pay the fee. If you want to, you can pay the fee, because you can use it as a bit of a sales negotiating tool. But ordinarily, that's passed on to the end customer.
It's a great question.
So we actually use APay for we've pivoted our Rec business to do like project statements of work, and where we use it is to get all our salaries paid quickly, right? So we invoice for the full quarter, and then it allows the client to break it up much like Afterpay. But the cool thing about it is that it just sits on the invoice. It then goes to the client, and they've got the option to do it. So they can go, cool, I want to pay 30 grand. If I do it over installments, it's going to cost me, an extra $1,000 or whatever the thing works out. So we use it as a sell point to go, hey, you can pay this monthly, or you can pay it all up front. Recruitment agencies tend to like to prioritize cash flow, so they will do it. And then for some clients, we have used it as a sell, like I'll message Victoria and go, oh, we need to eat the interest on this because the client doesn't want to pay the extra bit. But it's a way to kind of add a bit more consult into the process rather than just send an invoice. So it works really well, especially now that it integrates with Xero. Like we've started using it. It's great for Rec.
What do you think is something that is not going to be around, a product that everybody's selling right now, except for John's note taker?
Number one note taker.
Number one note taker. What do you think, Manny? Like you're trying to develop, or you are developing a product that swallows up a lot of the ecosystem into one thing. So you log in, you do it, and you go, no need for John anymore. All right.
Integration coming though.
We
And then Spott will have the Australian one. So.
yeah.
I think what happened is you have those legacy systems, and then there was just a database, and we were already going to a trend towards like a system of action. So what happened is there are a lot of add-ons came up, a lot of startups to then sell you a solution for the shortcomings of the job adders and the bullhorns and those kind of things. So what will happen? What I believe will happen is that how I see the future is that then you will have a stronger AI native ATS and CRM. It's actually easier to build these days than it used to be.
What is native AI? I'm stupid. Tell me.
Yeah, it's AI native is that our data infrastructure is set up in a completely different way. I think it used to be like a relational database. That's quite technical. It's like in Excel. Everything is in cells. Everything is in attribute values columns. While now, we have a full sync with a vectorized database. So it's like a mathematical space where it basically understands text, like ChatGPT.
I tried to explain this to you earlier. I really failed, right?
But I don't think anyone.
Yeah, that's a very.
He lost me in the vectors.
Dalton was trying to explain it to me before. I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking.
He went, let's just go to Ryan's bar, will we?
The difference is to try to make it easy is there's a difference between doing Boolean search and semantic search. So Boolean, everything is in filters. You just pick out the right filters, while semantic search is text, and then it actually searches your database based on the text. And it's not the same as on LinkedIn that it goes to text and then translates to Booleans and then does Boolean in the background. That's still something different. That's not real vectorized database. Vectorized database and semantic search is just put in text. No Booleans, nothing, just goes and then just goes through all the data, all the notes, all the CVs, LinkedIn profiles, all the companies, all the data that basically exists in your system. And will then, for example, return someone for matching, or will write outbound campaigns for you, etc. So that's a bit the difference. So what I believe actually where the industry will go to is that the core ATS and CRM will do much more and will be a system of action. Add-ons are probably gonna, I think, suffer a bit. But what is that?
Or be sold to the ATS and make loads of money in John's on the beach.
Yeah, or if you're really good at if the add-on is kind of substantially better than the rest, I think it could still exist. But what I also will see happening, or foresee happening, is actually that recruitment agencies themselves are also going to build some add-ons. They are actually going to build the add-ons. So the ATS and CRM will already have like the 5-6 most common add-ons that I think some of you or most of you will have, besides the Bullhorn or Job Adder. For example, analytics, automations, a couple of more of those. But then what will happen is that some of you will actually build your own add-ons. For example, a client portal. You were like, okay, we'll go to Lovable, or like those vibe coding tool. The most tech-savvy guy in your company will just start prompting, and they will create like a custom client portal that you can show to your customers, and no one else can show it because you kind of built it. And so especially, I think branding, etc., is going to be more and more important in the future, especially if you have AI. It's going to be a bit easier to find candidates. So it's all going to be about, if 5 people reach out to a candidate, which agency are they going to respond to? If a client has like 5 people in their inbox, who are they going to respond to? So it's going to be more, I think, about branding, and to improve that branding, I think there will also be some vibe coded tools by agencies, which I find like exciting. I think that we start to see it now, but it's literally only 0.1% of probably the agencies that start experimenting with it. But I think in end of this year, next year, AI is getting really good. I think AI is already capable of doing it. But it just takes a bit of time. We're all humans. We're not gonna change our behavior in one day.
And John, where do you see the future going?
I somewhat disagree with that.
Lovely. That's what we want.
Only on the recruiters will build their own products, right? So we were having this conversation last week in Melbourne. Small agencies do like to, log into Zapier, build N8N. Your bigger agencies aren't going to spend time doing that. They will either employ someone in-house to do that, or they will pay for products. So I do think that the ATS CRMs will be updated and they'll go to a better search. But I don't think that a recruiter is going to sit there vibe coding, mainly just due to them not wanting to be that interested in that, and that it not being the most secure place for them to be uploading candidate and client data, right? So I think that that's where it comes from. Again, I do that, but I'm a bit of a nerd, right? So I'm like a recruiter, but I enjoy doing that. There's a few of them in recruitment agencies, but I don't think the bigger ones will do that. I do think that there will be a shift in the tools that they're using. But again, like we were chatting last week in Melbourne, like a lot of the databases that people are using, like your juice boxes, have just, scraped LinkedIn databases, and a lot of people are using the same data. So I think it will be based on the actions that are happening within the ATS, the conversations that recruiters are having, and recruiters will, rather than just using their ATS as a, cool, this candidate's pretty good, I can place them at X, they'll actually have conversational data in there that they can do updates with. So I agree with you on that point. Yeah.
Maybe one comment on the recruiters not kind of going to vibe code. What I see, and before this I worked at McKinsey, and I saw that a lot of kind of larger agencies that they built those very kind of extensive Excel models, which was for me the exact same. Who's gonna spend like a lot of time building these very kind of extensive BD and analytics Excel models, which is also what I would think, like recruiters are also not Excel wizards per se. And still they had someone in the company decided to build this Excel model, which everyone uses then for like 15 years.
Yeah, I think it's good to have that one nerd in the company. They can make things happen. Like where I can see a lot of things happening is, and I'm very simple when it comes to this, as you know, John. You can get a lot out of me at lunch. So I'm doing the phone call. It's recorded, or WhatsApp, and it's recorded. Goes into the database. It was a job. It was half talk about a job thing. It expands it out. It kind of guesses what I want. It then does a bit of sourcing for me. Comes back, gives me a top 3, creates some messages. I hit yes. The messages go out. Advert goes out as well. All the multi-touch stuff that we do all along. Like, all of that should happen automatically. How far are we away from pressing that button and it going bang, and we're in Ryan's bar having a good time?
Like a lot of that stuff already exists. Like we do part of that at RecView. Where I think the problem with AI is that it's like you can automate a lot of it, but you shouldn't automate to 10,000 contacts that are in your database on a job that you have, right? Because people don't come back. Like I used to use a lot of, I've probably hit everyone in this room, a lot of LinkedIn automation, right?
You and me both, buddy.
Yeah, I know. Like, yeah, we got the same tools, right? Like the last couple of weeks, I've just been DMing people on the tram on the way to work, and the response rate's way better, right? Because obviously you're sending a personal message to that person. So I think it's there, but the point that you touched on, which is allowing the AI to do that. So for example, when like we capture conversational data from a phone call, it'll automatically update, job adder and bullhorn, and then we'll create like a lead list of jobs that candidate's right for. You probably want to leave it there, right? Because again, all the tools that we're trying to use as recruitment agencies, talent acquisition teams are also trying to use. You don't want to then fire off an email based on the conversation that you've had automatically to that candidate, because as a recruiter, and I think at the moment, everyone focuses too much on tech. As a recruiter, like tech's a very small part of what we do, right? It's like building the relationship, actually doing the role. Everyone's like now, because AI is coming, they're trying to automate everything and do everything, myself included. When you go back to the basics, like we've just been calling people this year, way better response rate. Because there's been so much automation and AI, people are used to it. So you just, like everything, you're just trying different channels. But I think it's using that to automate parts of the job that are admin heavy and boring and not revenue generating, and then focusing on the revenue generating activities so that you've got more time to do them.
Victoria, what do you think about the future of recruitment? Our livelihoods depend on it. Like, give me a good answer here. Like, are we going to survive? What are you seeing when you're selling to these people?
I think we just need to be smarter with what we're doing as well. Certainly, just touching on what John said there, this is a relationship business, but when it comes to your finance and your funding, you kind of really need to get on top of your numbers. I'm just going to mention it briefly. In order to survive, Payday Super is coming, and we need to be on top of it. It's something that, for whatever reason, we're not talking enough about.
What is it?
So it means that they're going to have to pay same-day super contributions within a 7-day window. So if you've got a contractor book of 100, you're going to have to pay their super contributions same day. You can't pay it in 3 months' time. So there's going to be a huge cash flow shortage for a lot of agencies. So it's really kind of getting on top of those things, like even paying your own staff. For some of you, you might not be paying super weekly, you're paying it, quarterly, monthly, however that is. John and I had that same conversation. It's very common across the industry, but where growth's going to come from an AI point of view, this is like where you get really into detail of using your tech stack to really analyze your bottom line, like looking at the numbers from a point of view. Okay, what's worth it in terms of an investment, and how's that going to affect me moving forward? How can I use that to my strength? So can I get into detail about what my consultants are doing, how they're performing, where they're going, so that then I can free up some cash to go, actually, do you know what? bringing another consultant isn't the right way to go right now. I'd actually be better investing in X, Y, and Z because you can really get close.
By
always
the recruiter from the Rec to Rec. Oh.
Buy the recruiter from the Rec to Rec. Certainly if you got startups.
Okay, guys. Before we finish up the first section, anybody have any questions on anything that we've talked about, from finance to AI to tech, future of recruitment? Here we go.
So you all have models to make recruitment's lives much easier. In your opinion, like, you all have things to make recruitment's lives much easier, which I'm all for. But in your opinion, what are the things that you'll never be able to do from a recruitment perspective?
The
So
things that
what's going to be left?
Yeah, the things that we get paid to do, right? So like, even like, obviously I know a lot of people in this room. When we set up starting recruitment, we tried to, and we still did, we automated a lot of it. But the philosophy behind that was so that we could automate a lot of the admin heavy things so that we could speak to more candidates and clients every single day.
Now,
Right.
me and you are guilty of doing trying to automate way too much. Like,
But it's like it's the parts that you like. If you're automating certain parts so that then you can actually go and have a coffee with a candidate, that's a good automation, right? So like, that is the part that I feel you should be using AI and automation for. It's when you see products that are like have an AI interviewer, it's an avatar, and it's like, we're already on the back foot being recruitment agents, right? Like, people probably don't want to have that conversation with us. If you're then sending an avatar to interview them, that's a bad case of automation, right? Where if you're doing it to just like quickly send out personalized emails to then book in a time, a good use of automation, because you can then have more conversations in that day. So I think it just comes down to, and how we look at it in our business is this going to allow us to speak to more people in a day? Yes or no? That's all we look at.
so I'm always a bit conflicted on this question. One, down to my own laziness. So largely, like, whenever we're moving people, let's say one candidate has 5 interviews or whatever it looks like, because we want to have control over them. And there's a lot of scheduling that happens there. Like to do it, I love to give that away. Like, I don't want to do it. It's not, my life's not worth living if I have to schedule bloody interviews. I hate it, right? But then I spoke to one of the best independent recruiters in the world, Rich Rosen, and he's like, no, I schedule every one, because that's the touch points. They're the points when I influence the deal.
Yeah.
Now, my life's still all right, but he's a way better recruiter. So there's, yeah. I think we can be guilty of testing out too much. We can give away a lot of admin, but we don't want to lose the touch points that create the trust, which influence the deal. And I suppose the longer you're at it, and you're doing this quite a while now, the better you get at influencing over a short period of time. But he's the best, and he doesn't give away the touch points.
And I also, maybe one small point to add here is that the BD side of things is actually also gonna be even more important, because no one likes being sold to, and definitely not by an AI.
Yeah.
So the whole
AI sales agents.
AI is not gonna negotiate for you. AI is not gonna kind of get new clients. So actually, the BD part of things is gonna be more important. I think you also see a shift more from 360 to 180, and then that BD part of things, I believe, will be even more important with AI.
Yeah. Sell. Yes.
So my question's kind of to the room, just on the back of that. I'm really curious for those who are using AI, like especially if we talk about BD to a new client, whether you're floating a candidate or just trying to make an introduction. Is your first touch point AI or some email or something, even if it's personalized, the message that's going out in text versus picking up the phone? Who's doing kind of email versus who's doing phone? We do a little email,
So yeah.
I'd probably say a bit of both.
Yeah.
But I found, I don't know, I and this is just me personally, I think the idea of the old school pick up the phone and smash the phone on the cold school style, I think that's dead. I think if I'm making 100 phone calls, I've got enough tech now with AI controlling that admin side of thing and looking at the research. I can now orchestrate a list of 10 people that I know are worth speaking to. So if I'm going to smash the phone and make 10 phone calls, those are warm phone calls because I already understand exactly why I'm calling you, rather than when I first started in recruitment, and you've got one long ass spreadsheet, and you're just smashing through, hoping how you're going to achieve it. Right?
To build that into a bit more, I would say you're going to have 100 target clients. Maybe 10 of those will pay your bills. You're going to have 2,000 candidates within your niche. So what's your value proposition to both? Do you have their data? What value proposition are you bringing to their data? So is it your podcast? Is it a salary survey? Is it market research? Is it an event? Like, what are you doing to engage all of that data to make them trust you, know you, want to engage with you? And from there, then, when you do pick up the phone to them, maybe they're in your WhatsApp group, maybe they're on your email list, maybe they know you from LinkedIn. They're much likelier to engage. But I think this is a reason why we're going to survive, at least in the short term, is that if we're focused on this marketplace that we're into, these people are going to trust us rather than machines. And as long as we have the data, the proposition, and our own skill set, we'll be okay.
Yeah,
Personality.
I think it's as well like selling your personality, like Vic said. And our sales strategy is always email, LinkedIn connect with them. We post a lot of content, they see that, and then we all like within the space, like quite closely, then we call them, because what we've found is and James and I, who run the Rec to Rec, both worked at S3, which was like, just pick up the phone. Here's a lead list in a market that you've never even spoken to, call everyone. They don't know who you are on the other end. And especially now that like Apple can just screen the calls before you're coming through, you need to build a little bit of a like social presence, and that can be through email, LinkedIn, podcast, events. You don't need to go that far, but it obviously helps. But we always send a couple of emails first. So by the time you get to the phone, they're like, oh, cool, you're the person that's been trying to catch me on email and LinkedIn, but they know what you're trying to sell, right? It's like, cool, I'm calling you about this specific role, or you're trying to sell this specific thing. So I think a combination of it works really well. But again, after that, picking up the phone for us has been like the best channel this year.
Yeah, and for us, I know we're selling to you directly, but that face-to-face is our point of difference in the market. There's always somebody at the end of the phone, and I think that's the most important thing to remember as a bunch of recruiters. Is people are buying into you, right? It's relationships, and that's number one. How we work, because we try and replicate what's happening within the industry. So, and I don't think AI is ever going to take that away, in all honesty, no matter how sophisticated we get and all the clever AI with facial recognition and all that kind of stuff. Like, you're buying into people, you're buying into personalities, and that's how you're building relationships. And that's the thing not to forget. So not to over automate, and not to just like think it's a personalized email so it makes sense. You can tell what's ChatGPT. I know I say it the wrong way around, but you can tell, and it's got the hyphens, and it doesn't have your brand essence to it. So just keeping that in mind.
Any others? Yes.
One of the I think the biggest challenge we have when it comes to CRMs is that LinkedIn's more up to date. So a lot of our consultants find that they're going to get the more up-to-date information quicker by going straight to LinkedIn. So from a CRM perspective, do you guys see LinkedIn as a competitor, or do you see yourself working in conjunction with it? And is there any way that we're going to be able to get an ATS that that will update itself as LinkedIn updates? Because that's the major issue we face, is that we can't update it as quickly as LinkedIn can.
That's already there.
Okay. That wasn't a planned question, but yeah, that already exists. That's what we offer. That's like an auto updating database. It updates based on your emails, phone calls, but also just latest LinkedIn information. Yeah, that's there. And I think LinkedIn competitor. I wouldn't. Yeah, you can't start competing with LinkedIn. So yeah.
But I suppose the question is, if I can distill it down further, is we're all spending a lot of money on LinkedIn Recruiter. How can we reduce that spend through our ATS? Is that possible, especially in a job board centric market like Australia, where the spend is just crazy here?
No, but you can reduce it through Veritime.
Oh, here we go. Right, we're going to close off it on that. Well done. Yeah, you said it fine. Right. Okay, so big round of applause for the guests, and we'll get going in 5 minutes' time. Fill up your glasses. Let's go.